Hey, what's going on? We're in some weird times when it comes to Pokemon. I've watched a lot of people's takes on things lately. The prismatic evolutions, happenings, people talking about cards, allocations not going out where they need to be, certain prices of cards going haywire. Some of this stuff is relatively par for the course. Some of this stuff does happen every single time Pokemon booms happen and more people step back in the hobby. What's crazy is we're not even dealing with the 30th anniversary, and I feel like that's going to be a major kicker with some things as well. And I think that's a big thing. We're not even there yet, and we're already having issues and stuff. A lot of people are having issues staying current when it comes to Pokemon, when it actually comes to getting prismatic evolutions. People are very worried about Journey Together. People are not able to get certain Japanese singles and stuff like that. I mean, there's stuff available. If you're really wanting to get battle partners, it's $100 a box. I don't necessarily recommend you paying that price. I just really don't think that's worth it. I think that does more harm than good for average people in this space. I understand if you have a business or anything like that, you want to fucking keep your stuff going. Like, hey, I don't gotta buy your stuff. No one's gonna make me buy your stuff, and I will actively detest people that are selling it for that price. I don't care who it is. I will not be purchasing that stuff from people. It's just not helpful, in my opinion. And the way people actually fix stuff is by not purchasing things. We don't have enough people not purchasing things, and I don't think that's gonna slow down anytime soon. We just have people here who are perpetually addicted to Pokemon for whatever thing is going on. I know that's very weird, the space. I bring that up a lot, but I'm very self-aware. I do like things like that. I understand like purchasing Pokemon and having like things that you're into in the hobby space. It is something that is very good, and it feels good to be a part of that stuff, and you just want to do it more and more and more. I do feel like there are some people who are just addicted to this place. They're addicted to certain things about it, whether it do be gambling for packs, whether it do be high prices, making videos, likes and engagement, or just any of those type of things that basically this place can provide. I mean, there are good things that, people that you can meet. There's like a bunch of different places you can go. You can actually play the TCG and things like that. There's still stuff that's out there. And ultimately, I don't think collecting is dead, but ultimately, I do think collecting has changed. And I think we're going to hit something that I've talked to people a little about before. There's going to be a new normal in the TCG, and I really do think we're about to hit a skill check where people are actually going to be checked if they actually have the capability to still be here. I think that is going to be something that happens relatively soon. And I don't blame certain people for not wanting to be a part of this anymore. I do think it's going to get more cutthroat, whether it does be for content, whether it does be for cards or any kind of stuff. I think players are going to have a hard time here soon too. I think like certain things are going to be held extremely expensive. I think vendors and I think businesses are going to be very active on getting playable cards and actually trying to sell those for triple, quadruple the price that they normally would go for the sake of making money. Because I do think that's going to happen. It already kind of does for certain things, and certain playables do go for a lot. I do think some people are going to get rather scummy and try to take advantage of that route. Why it hasn't happened yet? Pokemon's been printing relatively to demand, and most people are only going after SARs and certain cards like that. But I think people are starting to show their true colors here, and some people who I thought were, community members or about this stuff, I've just slowly watched them devolve as this whole thing is taking place. And ultimately, I do kind of feel like I'm back in 2020 and 2021, where the friend circle has expanded, but it's been sucked right back in as 2025 has happened, because I watched the exact same thing happen where people said, oh, these EV hero prices suck ass. Oh, I'm not going to partake in this stuff. And they essentially echoed with what I said. And ultimately, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. But I really don't like where people say like, oh yeah, I'm right there with you, man. What you're saying is some good stuff right there. And then said person just goes out and buys like said thing for quadruple, quintuple the price, and then has the nerve to complain about said. I just do not appreciate any of that. And me personally, I think that is a precursor to future things that you might do. It's a character flaw. It's something that I see where people, it's if you're going to do it with that, I honestly do think you're going to do it with something else. I think a lot of people are displaying character flaws here. I have character flaws as well. I'm not perfect or anything, but I see other people doing specific things. I see people saying things and just not staying true to their word. And it really does make you wonder what other people will do. And I think the skill check portion that I brought up is going to be people's patience to deal with certain things. There's people who traditionally have never been mad about this place that are getting absolutely frustrated. There are stores that are trying to help people out and do their absolute best here to be active community members and keep people fostered here best they can, and they're just basically getting shut down from what they call greed. And I would agree with that. I think greed is heavy here, and it is bleeding from every aspect of it. Creators wanting views, people wanting cards, people wanting product, people wanting to do breaks, people wanting to fucking make as much money as they possibly can here, not wanting to work a normal job. All things that in moderation really aren't too bad. But I think compiling everything here, along with all the extra people here, the competition increasing, younger, fresher, hungrier people walking in who want this stuff more, that are willing to take advantage of specific things to undercut other people, and then the older people sinking to those very same levels to try to undercut the new people that are here. And you're just watching basically people, in my personal opinion, do things that do not represent this place at all. And it's going to be a very interesting Collecticon card party, especially if things keep going. Pokemon is saying they're going to be printing some stuff. They're going to be talking about printing and going forward and having enough for everybody. And me personally, I just can't help but sit there and be like, we'll wait and see. Pokemon has alleviated shortages before. It has relatively been temporary and short, like the 151 stuff. Yeah, you get 151 boxes for a little bit, but there was a good solid while where there was like nothing. You had that little bit where you could pick them up and then they were just exhausted. And it does feel like a lot of this stuff is like 151, but to the next level. People are so worried about missing out on fucking Evolving Skies 3.0, 4.0, that they're out there lying to people saying they've always liked Shrouded Fable. Always liked it. And I'm watching the goalpost be moved in my fucking video, and people like leaving comments of shit I never said to attempt to move the goalpost to try to essentially gaslight that never happened, when as a matter of fact it did. It happened with Japanese full art trainers as well, and I know I bring that up all the time too, but people literally have told me I did not get them for cheap. They were never cheap. They were never this. They were never that. Doesn't matter how many receipts I show. Doesn't matter how many times I say I was there. People will try to gaslight and be like, no, trainer, waifu, all gross shit has always been $1,000+. It's always been like that. This dude's full of shit. This dude doesn't. Case premium is 100% a thing. This stuff has happened. I've had several people just straight up lie through their goddamn teeth, try to do that stuff. And it feels like this time in particular, people are doing it with everything. There is nothing off the limits and off tables for them to just lie about this time in order to squeak by and make as much fucking money as possible. Am I deterred? Am I going to be kicked out of this hobby? Absolutely not. I'm going to pass a skill check. No fucking problem. It's something I can do. I've done it before. And what I would recommend for, average people walking, people that want to just leave comments in here, people that are fucking money investor jerk off bros, hey, do your thing, big dog, do your thing. This shit ain't for you. You're welcome to take as much of his advice as possible. Hey, maybe you'll flip from that side over to this side. Who knows what happens with that? But for average people that are watching this stuff, dude, just collect something. Just move on to something else. I've been picking up singles. I've been backtracking. I've been going after things that people have not cared about. Like people are kind of pretending to do with Shrouded Fable and how like, oh, it was like not a big thing for like some people. It was always kind of good. Like they contradict themselves because they say Shrouded Fable is a slept on gem, but then people always liked it too. No, nothing like that. Like cards that like people really aren't fucking worried about right this second. And there's a lot of different kinds that people are not doing. There's a lot of great artworks out there that aren't being looked at all. There's a lot of different eras currently being untouched. Yeah, if you want to go for fucking sealed product, you're going to have a rough time. But if you want to pick up singles, even some really good PSA 910 slabs of like some older stuff, there's a great selection of stuff out there because everybody is so focused on current modern that there's some things that might even be similar to that or even in this modern era that people aren't looking at. The problem is everybody just wants one thing, and they want the current hottest chase cards, the current things that are over $1,000, and some people would argue, what's the fucking issue with that? In theory, nothing. It just creates this hobby bubble that we have right now, this current hobby culture that is absolutely disgusting and abhorrent to some people. Literally watching people who were for the community and doing all this stuff like last fucking year, and now all of a sudden they're no different from whatnot breakers. They're no different than whatnot streamers. They say and do the exact same things. Many of them saying they would never do any of the stuff they're currently doing. And it's very reminiscent of 2020, 2021. It's a crazy thing to see. Pick up some singles. Look at some stuff. Pick up some $2, $3 cards. You do not have to spend crazy big dollar money to make content. You do not have to do that. You do not have to be a fucking cocksucker to get people to watch your videos. You do not have to just fellatio every single person who offers you a sponsor. You have the ability to choose who you want to work with. You have the ability to be who you want to be. You can tell other people to fuck off when they have suggestions for your channel to make it mainstream and get you like 100,000 plus views. Fuck that shit. I don't want to do any of that. That sounds like some shit for the goobers up there. That sounds like fucking people who have to do this in order to support stuff. And like, this is their job. They're stuck. They have to do this. And I think that is another big thing that's happening too. The amount of people who have quit what they're doing, they don't have a fucking job anymore. And Pokemon and their hobby is now their fucking, it's their job. They're stuck in it now. They can't get out. They're more a slave to this than they were to their 9-to-5 job. And there's going to be people that fucking smile through their teeth and pretend that nothing's wrong with anything. Oh, this was my dream. This is what I want to do all along. Meanwhile, they're out there they have to do certain things. I feel bad for some people, and I understand that some people are basically doing some things they don't want to do. That's not the case for everybody. There's some people that are just running wild. There's some people that are going to disappear in a couple of years that aren't going to be here anymore. And it sucks to see, but it's the name of the game. There's just people that are chained here, and they cannot leave. If they do, the whole thing falls apart. Some house bills aren't getting paid, and ultimately some things aren't going to happen. Some people want to say that's why you should overpay for boxes. You should support these guys too. No, you do not have to do that. They made that choice. You did not. And if you were truly here as a hobby for this whole thing, don't worry. There's other business people and other butt sniffers that'll buy from them, okay? There's plenty of people who do not give a single fuck about the Pokemon hobby that will buy boxes for 150, 160 bucks. It does not need to be you. And honestly, your money and your wallet says a lot more about you than anything else in this place. People can smell the fucking scum a mile away. It's crazy how many people are just nervous, they're pressed, and the ultimate, there's so many people that are just reflecting on things they previously once did. There's so many people considering moving or selling cards they previously thought they never would. And that's not a bad thing always 100%, okay? I get it. If you got to pay some bills, you got to do some things. It is what it is. It's just watching this place transform, watching this place be it's weird to see, man. It really is. It's same time it's not. But just keep going forward. If you're regular and you're just trying to exist in the space, you're trying to pick up some stuff for the family, some kids, you're not trying to I don't recommend you make this a job. I'm very happy that I have a job that I work at that's away from here. I can actually go be employed and then completely just say whatever the fuck I want here. I don't have to please anybody. I don't have to get on my knees and fucking be like, oh yes, here's what it is. I don't gotta take any sponsors if I don't want to. I don't gotta do a damn thing. I just can get on here and say whatever I want. And there is something so free that very few creators here can really do anymore because they're all so fucking financially incentivized to say what needs to happen. They're all so fucking business central now that they can't say bad things. They can't do the things that like, oh, I feel this way, but I can't. Well, sucks to suck, nerd. I can say whatever the fuck I want. So there it is. Keep it going. Have fun in the hobby if you can. You're going to have a rough year if you're really trying to just keep up and be current. I don't think what Pokemon is going to do is going to 100% solve this, at least not anytime soon. They're going to try, if they flood the market, if they ultimately, truly flood the market, then I do think average people will be getting MSRP boxes and stuff like that relatively. Try to get some pre-orders where you can. GameStop has been trying to be pretty good about it. Like, you can usually get like one or two. I've actually gotten a couple things pre-ordered from GameStop as well. Hoping I can get that for MSRP. Fucking Japanese product. Keep your eyes peeled here and there. It's not really going to be the fucking same cheap $30, $40 boxes you were able to get, but you can still find deals on stuff here and there. Japanese singles. I'm telling you, there's so many things people are just not looking at right now. There's some fantastic cards, some absolute bangers of cards that people really should be looking at that they are not. Do some good thinking. Don't get in a situation that you can't get out of. Don't put this shit on credit cards, okay? Don't go in debt for any of this stuff. I don't care what you're seeing on any of this YouTube shit. I don't care what you see any of these fake fucking personas telling you, man. Like, there's some people here who got their stuff figured out. The majority of people doing fucking breaks and things like that are so desperate to get this fucking product and do whatever they have to do. There's some skeletons underneath that, and there's some things where if they're not doing some stuff, they are just going to crumble underneath. Like, do not do anything dumb for this hobby. Buy what you can afford. Do not buy what you can't afford, and just keep your head above the water. Make fucking responsible decisions as an adult. This is a hobby. This is a hobby. Do not ruin your life over this shit. Too many stories are popping up. Stay safe out there, y'all. For real. It's going to be a year.